So this week, when it came to creating, I've been feeling a bit stuck. So I had all day to myself on Thursday, and I took myself off for a walk to see what I could find. We're lucky enough to live in lovely open countryside with lots of shapes and little creature neighbours around in the undergrowth. So I just went out to see who I could find, who was hanging out, what colours I could see. And just basically see what everyone was up to in the hedgerows. While I was looking at all these little creatures going about their business in the hedgerows, I had a lyric from a song by Adrian Lenker going around in my head, which is "Everything eats and is eaten." And it felt kind of apt and sad looking at all these little guys getting what they can from the plants and knowing that they're probably going to be picked off by birds at some point, and the cycle goes on. I also decided to bring some of the last remaining flowers in from the garden, not only to brighten the place up, but I thought perhaps they could be a bit of a muse while I was drawing as well. Try and do a bit of drawing from life, which I haven't done for a while. A while ago I was making some drawings in my sketchbook, but there's kind of a bit of a stream of consciousness thing really, not worrying too much about what I was drawing and just enjoying making marks and that sort of thing. So I decided to do the same again, because it feels really freeing when I'm doing it, drawing for fun rather than a purpose. And those flowers did come in handy. I did some drawing from life, not really worrying about the style I was drawing in or where things were on the paper. Just thinking about what's going on in the garden right now, the last of the tomatoes, falling leaves, apples. I did draw some strawberries as well. Obviously they finished ages ago, but they're such a good shape to draw. You'll see them later. And well, I wasn't too concerned, what with it being stream of consciousness. And I still had that lyric going around in my head too, everything eats and is eaten, and all the little insects. So they also made an appearance in this drawing. You'll also see them later as well. When I'm making a drawing like this, I always start with a colour palette. In fact, I always start with a colour palette, whatever I'm drawing. I think it's just such a good jumping off point, getting together a selection of colours that work well together across like a range of different materials. It's also a kind of experiment in using all of those materials too, and seeing what works when I layer them, which one's best for each job, and really not worrying if it doesn't work out quite right, because it's probably not going to, and that's what sketchbooks are for, isn't it? So after I got the realistic drawing out of my system, I looked at simplifying the flowers I had in front of me too, and breaking them down into basic parts. It's kind of a nice way of discovering new ways of drawing the things you draw most often and expanding your visual vocabulary. I noticed with this drawing I've done in my sketchbook today that I've been using coloured pencils a lot more as well recently. Pens have always been actually not always been my tool of choice, but for a long time I've been using pens, and recently I've been using a lot more pencil, which I've been enjoying seeing how it works with the pen too, kind of layering it over this kind of washy brush pen. But I've really worked out you do have to let the brush pen dry until it's actually like part of the paper, otherwise it just doesn't work. So that's something I've learned from doing more with colour pencils. But I'm enjoying them. I kind of like the texture and the different kind of scratchy lines that you can get with them too. So here it is, the final spread. And there's all the little critters and creatures and those strawberries I told you about before, all hanging out, eating, waiting to be eaten. There's definitely bits of it that I like more than others, but that's part of working in a sketchbook really, isn't it? You kind of figure out what's working for you and what's not, and which bits you can take forward into final pieces. So finally, I just wanted to show you where I was at the beginning of the week. All I could draw was lines, and there's these little birds which I'm kind of pleased with. I like the colours, but I wanted to try and expand a bit, and that's where I was stuck. So this is what I ended up with. Lots to work with, lots to take forward to next week.